possible that this would not be allowed due to health and safety regulations. Hello, and welcome to what hopes to be a rather special episode of Mr. Bench's Book Reviews. Today I will be reviewing part of Winnie-the-Pooh, which I did a full read aloud of on this channel. So I'll just be responding, if you will, to my own reading of the introduction today of Winnie-the-Pooh by A.A. Milne. Here we go. Winnie-the-Pooh by A.A. Milne, with decorations by Ernest H. Shephard. Well, that's nice, decorations. Obviously nowadays you would say illustrations, but the book is very old, so I'm assuming they're not trying to be deliberately quaint there. I think it's just normal decorations. To her, hand in hand we come, Christopher Robin and I, to lay this book in your lap. Say you're surprised, say you like it, say it's just what you wanted, because it's yours, because we love you. Right, Christopher Robin there, obviously quite famous, gets introduced even in this, well, I guess was the dedication, was that meant to be? So yeah, that's good. They don't really say who her is, but likes to keep his cards close to his chest. This Milne. Introduction. If you happen to have read another book about Christopher Robin, I haven't, but he does show up in some of the poems. It's either Now We're Two or When We Were Very Young, or Now We're Six or something. So that's probably what he's referring to here. You may remember that he once had a swan, or the swan had Christopher Robin. I don't know which. I don't know which either, but there is a poem about a swan. And that he used to call this swan Pooh. I think that's true. That was a long time ago. And when we said goodbye, we took the name with us, and we didn't think the swan would want it anymore. Now that's a bit unusual. Normally when you take a name, you don't actually have to physically remove it from the person. You can just say, I can be called that too. But it seems as though the swan has had to come up with a new name. I can actually maybe do the poem on this channel at one point. Maybe short enough for a short even. So we've got some context. Well, when Edward Bear said that he would like... Edward Bear is also in another of the poems, I think in one of those two books I was talking about. I think he falls off an ottoman and he meets the King of France, I believe. An exciting name all to himself. Christopher Robin said at once, without stopping to think, that he was Winnie-the-Pooh. And he was. That's good. I mean, that's nice. It's showing the agency that Christopher Robin has because he basically creates his world. If Christopher Robin says it, then it is so. I mean, I'm not trying to say he's a dictator, but he's just the creator of the world. The creator, like the god. So, as I explained the Pooh part, I will now explain the rest of it. Which is Winnie the, I guess. You can't be in London for long without going to the zoo. There are some people who begin the zoo at the beginning, called Way In, and walk as quickly as they can past every cage until they get to the one called Way Out. But the nicest people go straight to the animal they love the most. And that's a good way of putting it. I guess even these nice people enter by the way in. Otherwise they're behaving rather badly. And stay there. So when Christopher Robin goes to the zoo, he goes to where the polar bears are, and he whispers something to the third keeper from the left, and doors are unlocked, and we wander through dark passages and up steep stairs, until at last we come to the special cage, and the cage is opened. This all sounds as though Christopher Robin knows someone at the zoo. I guess his auntie or someone works there. This third keeper from the left. Otherwise this is a bit dodgy. And out trots something brown and furry, and with a happy cry of, "Oh, bear!" Christopher Robin rushes into its arms. This could be one of these things where, like on TV shows, the child starts imagining something, but they show it as though it's really happening, because it's quite possible that this would not be allowed due to health and safety regulations. Now this bear's name is Winnie, which shows what a good name for bears it is. But the funny thing is that we can't remember whether Winnie is called after Pooh or Pooh after Winnie. We did know once, but we have forgotten. I don't know who we is in this context. I mean, the reader. It's some sort of parent telling a story to Christopher Robin. I think that's the basic setup. So I'm not quite sure who the we is. I mean, it's A.A. Milne, but I think it's one person with two A's, it's not like Alf and Armitage Milne. I had written as far as this when Piglet looked up and said in his squeaky voice, "What about me?" That was my attempt at a squeaky voice, I guess. "My dear Piglet," I said, "the whole book is about you." "So it is about Pooh," he squeaked. "You see what..." I'm not sure if I've misread that where it says, "So it is about Pooh." But that's what he said there. What it is, he is jealous because he thinks Pooh is having a grand introduction all to himself. Pooh is the favourite, of course, there's no denying it, but Piglet comes in for a good many things which Pooh misses, because you can't take Pooh to school without everybody knowing it. But Piglet is so small that he slips into a pocket, where it is very comforting to feel him. That's quite nice, being able to slip into a pocket. Because what is, these are basically cuddly toys, right? Soft toys. So he's saying that obviously if he takes Pooh along, he's going to get confiscated because he's very evidently got a toy with him he's not supposed to have, unless it's toy day. Whereas he can kind of smuggle Piglet along, which is kind of cool. When you're not quite sure whether twice 7 is 12 or 22. Sometimes he slips out and has a good look in the ink pot, and in this way he has got more education than Pooh, but Pooh doesn't mind. Some have brains and some haven't, he says. And there it is. And now all the others are saying, "What about us?" That is also not entirely fair. I mean, the lack of education should not necessarily be connected to the lack of a brain. It's possible that if Pooh, well, I don't know if he just genetically doesn't have a brain or the capacity to learn, so that if he were also taken to school, then his brain may develop through nurture. So perhaps the best thing to do is to stop writing introductions and get on with the book. A.A.M. Well, that's quite nice, even having an introduction to a book. I mean, the book is fairly substantial in length, as you'll know if you've watched the full video. So having that little introduction sets it up. And I quite like the way as well, the introduction, it's very show don't telly. Like, it doesn't say, "This is a story about this boy who lives in a wood. He has these toys that I have basically transformed into live animals who interact with each other and talk to each other." And it's kind of blurring the lines about whether this is happening in Robin's imagination or not. It just kind of already gets straight into it, but in a way to give you enough clues and hints as to what is going on. So I think that's a very solid introduction from A. Milne. Maybe more books should have introductions. Sometimes they call them a prologue or preface, different words for it. But I think that really adds to the story. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed this little response video. Slight change of format. I intend to do some more of other excerpts from Winnie-the-Pooh. Probably not from the whole book, but of particularly noteworthy passages. So if you did enjoy, do let me know in the comments. And otherwise, I shall just see you again for another of Mr. Bench's book reviews. Bye.